Hello and welcome. This is class number 26 of the UPSC Quick Revision Series for your Prelims 2024. This is class for environment. We'll have one more class for environment, after which we will switch to science and technology. So stay tuned for each and every one of these classes. In case you have missed out on any of the earlier lectures, I'm giving the link of the entire playlist in the description of the video. Go ahead and watch that. Also, if you want to get PDF of these lectures, you can join the Telegram channel. The link is in the description of the video. I upload the PDF of all these lectures right there every single day. If you have still not hit the subscribe button, please do that right away, because this is where we are trying to make sure that you are well prepared for the 16th of June prelims examination. Let's begin our class for today with topic number 271. The Government of India recently amended the plastic waste management rules, and that is why it was in the news. The plastic waste management rules were originally introduced in 2016. They were now amended this year with some very important changes introduced. Let's see what were the important changes. First, the definition of importer now includes imports of any plastic packaging commodity with plastic carry bag, etc. All this, whoever is importing this will be called an importer. Second, the definition of manufacturer includes a person engaged in production of plastic raw material, biodegradable plastics, compostable plastics, etc. What about producer? Producer is a person who engages in manufacturing of intermediate material that is used in manufacturing of plastic. Only the producers registered under these rules can get raw materials from the manufacturers. So this is a very, very important provision. If you are registered as a manufacturer or as a producer rather, only then you will be able to get raw materials, otherwise you cannot. So you cannot have an informal setup where you are planning to make plastic products. That will not be allowed. There's a new definition of seller now. It has been inserted, which means any person who sells plastic raw material for producing plastic packaging will be called as a seller. These 2024 rules also have a new definition for biodegradable plastic, which not only refers to plastics capable of biodegradation, but also emphasizes an absence of microplastics. This is important. Earlier, biodegradable plastics were just those that had the ability or capability to be biodegraded, but now even with them, they have to ensure that there is no microplastics involved. After amendment, production of carry bags commodities is permitted under compostable and biodegradable plastic, but there is a condition on which you have to comply with the mandatory marking and labeling requirements that is given by FSSAI for products intended for food contact. So when you buy a certain product, there are plastic materials that come in touch with the food. For example, let's say you buy refined oil or you buy any oil. The plastic packaging is touching the oil from the inside, right? So that is a very important part of packaging, and those plastics have to be very, very carefully manufactured, that because that comes in contact with the food. So those regulations have also been made by the FSSAI. Apart from this, manufacturers of commodities made from compostable or biodegradable material must get certification from CPCB before marketing or selling their product. So a lot of people, you would say, these days sell their products saying that this is biodegradable plastic, because they know that in the market the demand for biodegradable plastic may be higher. But you cannot market that before you get a certificate. You first have to get a certificate from CPCB that will certify that yes, it is a biodegradable plastic. Only then you can market like that. Manufacturers also have to ensure processing of pre-consumer plastic waste generated during manufacturing and report all these activities to the State Pollution Board or the Pollution Control Committees. All these are part of the amended rules of 2014. Questions on such amended rules are very, very common in the prelims examination. So please do try and remember them. The next news is Global Waste Management Outlook 2024. It's a UN report that says that over a third of the global population is living with solid waste. What exactly is this report? It is published by UN Environment Program and International Solid Waste Association. This is the 6th such assembly of UN Environment. They talked about how the global waste management has, or how the global waste has increased considerably. Let's see some of the highlights of this report. First, global waste generation is increasing. It will reach 3.8 billion tons by 2050. What about the waste collection? Over one third of the world's population, about 2.7 billion people living in low middle income countries, lack access to waste collection services. Waste collection services means, for example, in most of your houses, if you're living in cities specifically, you have your household waste, you keep it outside your house, someone from municipality comes in and then they take the waste. That is called waste collection, where you individually are not responsible for decomposing your waste. You just keep it outside at a specific place, it is taken away. That is called waste collection. Not everyone has that facility. A lot of people, especially in low and middle income countries, don't have this facility of waste collection. Also, waste management is an expensive exercise. Global cost of waste management right now is 371.6 billion per year. Without urgent action, this cost could be doubled to 640 billion by 2050. So the cost of waste management is extremely high. Next important news, there was a meeting of International Tropical Timber Council with some major decisions being taken. This is a council that is headquartered in Japan. What exactly were the decisions taken? Those are not that important. What you have to understand is a few details about this particular body. It serves as the governing body of International Tropical Timber Organization. It has an annual meeting and addresses agenda to promote sustainable tropical forest management. It was established under International Tropical Timber Agreement of 1983. This agreement was a part of UN Conference on Trade and Development. The funding comes from timber producing countries. With all the countries that produce timber, they fund this organization voluntarily, not a fixed amount. Membership is of 75 countries, including India. Do remember, the members manage 80% of the world's tropical forests, responsible for 90% of the global tropical timber trade. The headquarters of this organization is in Japan. These are one of those organizations that don't remain in the news as such, but they can be randomly asked by UPSC when some important decisions are taken about them. Next topic, latitudinal diversity gradient. What do you mean by latitudinal diversity gradient? Why is it in the news? Now, there is a study conducted about the fossil fuels that reveals that modern day biodiversity has been evolving from the past 15 million years. In simple terms, it refers to a pattern under which you will always see more species at equators, and when you move towards the pole, the biodiversity starts to decrease. So a lot more species survive in equatorial and tropical weather, and when you move towards the pole, the number of species start to decline. In simple terms, this is called latitudinal diversity gradient. This study was conducted on a fungi, and it was found that these fungi have a role in overall latitudinal diversity gradient phenomena. How? These fungi, they promote diversity near the equator. They support single tree species at higher latitudes and reduce the diversity towards the poles. This is something that highlights the importance of fungi in our biodiversity and how the biodiversity is spread. Now, fungi, as you know, are eukaryotic organisms that include yeast, molds, and other related organisms, including mushrooms as well. They can be unicellular and they can be multicellular as well. Yeast is considered as the simplest unicellular form of this fungi. There are a lot of scientific studies conducted about how fungi has been extremely important for our biodiversity. The scientific discipline focused on the study of fungi is called mycology. Do remember this fact. Mycology means the study of fungi. Here are a few facts about fungi that you must know. They have their own cell walls, but unlike the plant cell walls, they are made up of, which are not made up of cellulose. The cell walls in fungi are actually made up of chitin. Chitin is the substance that makes up the shell of insects. That is why these are different. The plant wall or the plant cell wall is made up of cellulose. Fungi are heterotrophic organisms. They get nutrients from other organisms. They don't make nutrients of their own. They can reproduce both sexually and asexually. Asexual reproduction means it does not involve any other organism. Even one single organism can reproduce. That is called asexual reproduction. Next, global ocean heat content. No surprises there that the amount of heat stored in the ocean is increasing considerably. Since 1980s, it has more than doubled. Ocean heat content is the total amount of heat energy stored in the world's ocean. It is calculated by measuring the ocean temperature at different depths of the ocean. And then you integrate that and you come to know how much heat is being stored in the oceans. It is quantified in joules. That is how heat energy is usually measured. It's a standard unit of energy. Compared to air, water has a much greater heat capacity, and that is why it retains much larger quantities of heat. What about the facts? In 2023, global ocean's heat content reached 286 zetajoules. Now, zetajoules means 10 to the power 21. It is equivalent to 4.6 billion Hiroshima nuclear bombs. It is humongous. Again, we are talking about the entire ocean of the earth, how much heat is stored in all of them together. The global temperatures in oceans are increasing. There is no doubt about that. The atmospheric CO2 concentration is over 50% above pre-industrial revolution era, and the salinity contrast index has also reached 7.2 milligrams per kg, which has been the fourth highest since 1958. So overall, we are seeing a much greater increase in the temperature, because of which a lot of species may not survive because they are not used to this heat content in the water bodies. Next news, tropicalization. Now, what exactly is tropicalization? Basically, it is a phenomena in which oceanic ecosystems, you will see many species that are typically found in tropical areas, they start moving towards the poles. Maybe because there is a rise in temperature and their body is not suitable to sustaining it, so they start move towards the poles. It is all connected. That is called tropicalization. When tropical species start moving towards the poles, Mediterranean Sea has emerged as a hotspot for tropicalization, where there is a large scale movement or migration of species from tropical areas to higher latitude areas. This is similar to borealization and desertification. Borealization, as you know, means expansion of the Earth's boreal zone towards the poles and higher altitude areas. Desertification, on the other hand, means degradation of land, conversion of land that was once productive into the desert land now. All this is a phenomenon that is seen in various parts of the world now, including in the oceans. Similar to this, we have something called diel vertical migration. Now, what is diel vertical migration? DVM. It's extremely interesting and important. It is also called as diurnal vertical migration. Basically, it is a movement pattern seen in 24 hours, where for some hours, some marine species, oceanic species will remain in some level of water, then they will change their latitude, they will altitude, they will come at greater depth, and then they will change their depth in the 24-hour cycle. This is called diel vertical migration. As we just saw, tropicalization was that species are moving towards the poles because the tropic temperature is increasing. Other way of dealing with this increase in temperature is this, that if there are different layers of water, a fish might basically for a few hours stay here, then for a few hours might jump to this level, then after a few hours might jump to this level. That is called DVM. It is important for deep sea food webs and carbon sequestration, as animals remove substantial amount of carbon from upper ocean as they feed on surface dwelling plankton. So there are planktons that are on the surface of the water, so you have to go up for search of food as well. They usually move to the upper water layer at night and return to daylight zone and dense lake layer during the daytime. That is how they cope up with difference in temperature, and also the search of food basically makes them migrate from one layer to the other. Deep sea organisms basically perform this also to avoid predators and find their own food. They are vulnerable to predators that are present in the daytime, so they usually move towards the night time and then they come back to the death during the daytime. It is absent during the midnight sun in the Arctic region, and it can occur during a solar eclipse all of a sudden. So it's a very interesting and important phenomena that takes place in our oceans. Next, the IUCN updated its red list. Now, you cannot remember all the species where they are placed in the red list, which are endangered, which are vulnerable, which are critically endangered. So what you can do is remember a few facts about important species, and more importantly, remember few facts about the IUCN. IUCN red list, as you know, is the list of species that categorizes them into different categories depending on the danger that they face, depending upon their population, is it increasing, decreasing, etc. The updated red list has 1,57,190 species. Out of them, over 44,000 are facing the risk of extinction. An important highlight here is the Saiga antelope, one of the oldest animals in the world, present since the Ice Age, has been reclassified from critically endangered to near threatened, means its situation has improved. A quarter of freshwater fish, so 1/4 of them, are in danger. 17% affected by climate change. Apart from that, 4 freshwater subterranean fish species from Kerala have been listed here now. These are new additions. In endangered category, we have 3 new fish added, and in vulnerable category also, we have 1 new fish added. All these 4 have been added from Kerala. If you can, do remember this. Here are a bit of details about IUCN that you should know. It serves as a primary global tool to keep a track of animals that are nearing extinction. It provides information about global biodiversity health. It has 9 categories in total. Not evaluated to extinction. So these are the 2 ends, not evaluated and then to the extinction. It defines extinction of the risk of the species. It has category of critically endangered, vulnerable, and other kind of categories, so that the countries and the environmentalists can take action regarding this. They mainly focus their categorization on the basis of population. How much population exists, how much population is actually declining or increasing. So as you can see, starts with not evaluated, then data deficient, least concern, near threatened, vulnerable, vulnerable, endangered, critically endangered, extinct and wild, and then extinct. So these are the different categories. As you can see, 9 of them in total. The lower you go, higher your population is. So least concern means that you do have a very high population. Extinct means 0 population, and that is how it usually works. Extinct in wild basically means that there are some species that are still alive, but they are in zoo or they are kept in cages, but in the wild they are not found. Extinct means totally over. So that's how it usually works. Here are a few details about IUCN. Established in 1948. It is composed of government and civil society organizations. It gathers and analyzes data, implements conservation programs, does a lot of research on environmental challenges, etc. Next, rat hole mining was a lot in the news because the workers were rescued by the rat hole miners. Ever since that, it has come a lot in the news. Rat hole mining is an illegal form of mining. It is banned in India. It is mainly done in states such as Meghalaya, where you have some coal mines, but very small amount of coal is found there, not commercially viable. So big companies don't come there to explore coal. So what the local population does is, by hands, they start to dig around and they start to extract as much coal as possible. Into very, very narrow spaces they go and then bring out the coal. It's extremely dangerous, but this is a method which has led to ensuring that these 40 laborers who were trapped in the Silkyara tunnel were actually rescued. This term, the rat hole mining, refers to narrow pits that are dug on the ground to extract coal. This is a very specialist task. It does not involve a lot of safety measures. A lot of people, a lot of workers have even lost their life trying to do this. It is broadly of 2 types, side cutting and box cutting. Box cutting, as the name says, a rectangular opening is made about 10 to 100 square meters depending on the space, through which a vertical dig or vertical pit is dug. about 100 to 400 meter deep, and then by hands only they try to extract coal. Also in side cutting procedure, narrow tunnels are built on the hill slopes. The workers go in to find wherever they can find the coal. Once the coal seam is found, rat hole sized tunnels are dug horizontally and the workers can try and extract the coal from that area. So for example, if this, let's say, is a mountain, so they'll first try and start digging from here. Let's say if they find the coal here, so basically what they'll do is they'll now dig this side so that they can drag the coal out from here. So they first come in vertically, wherever they find the coal, they try to dig horizontally and then take the coal out from here. That is how it usually works. As I told you, it is a banned practice in India. It was banned by National Green Tribunal in 2014. Supreme Court also has banned it, but despite that, we have seen that rat hole mining still persists in states such as Meghalaya. This is because thousands of people depend on this practice for their livelihood. They extract coal, sell it illegally in the market where it should not be sold. It's dangerous for them. It has put their lives in danger as well. But again, this is a practice that is followed very widely. Then 280, the last news for this particular class, Weather Information Network and Data System. The government of India is now trying to gather weather information from as many different areas as possible. For that, they have set up a WINDS system, Weather Information Network and Data System. Now, what exactly is this? Usually, when you see weather forecasts are available for bigger cities. For example, if you are living in a smaller city, you will not be able to find out AQI in your city. You know AQI of Delhi, Bangalore, Mumbai, Pune, Chennai, Kolkata, you know the AQI of those places, but weather condition of your area will not be known to you. Now, in bigger cities, the farmers are not working. Farmers are not working in Mumbai, Delhi, so they need to know the weather prediction. And if the weather prediction is only coming in from bigger cities, not the smaller city, it is not serving any purpose. So the government is focusing on hyper-local weather forecasting. Hyper-local means getting to as much ground level local cities as possible and get weather information from that area. For that, the WINDS system is being established. It's a mechanism to integrate weather data from various observation systems across the country into one single WINDS portal. There will be over 2 lakh ground stations that will be installed under this initiative to predict weather conditions, to help in decision making, not just for the government, but at an individual level as well. This is called hyper-local weather forecasting. This will use high-level advanced technologies such as high-resolution weather models, weather sensors, data analytics, etc. to give a real-time data. This is extremely important, especially for farmers. They have to make decisions regarding planting, irrigation, etc. If they know that tomorrow or day after tomorrow rainfall is predicted, that means that they can stop irrigation today because that will lead to overflowing of water or overwatering. So that is why these kind of decisions or these kind of information is important for farmers specifically. This was our session. We have one more session for environment and then we will switch on to science and technology. Reminding you once again, you have to hit the subscribe button and join the Telegram channel if you want a PDF of these classes. The link for Telegram channel also is in the description of the video. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Jai Hind.